that your brain can do different types of things, right? English is one thing, studying history is something else, right? Different way of processing information. Math is something different, right? I think if you look at it that way, it becomes less frustrating to sit here and do this. Okay, here we go. So this example, this is a good example right here because it's like the homework. Okay, let's say we let f of x be equal to, let's go with negative 5x plus 7. Okay, I'm going to keep it linear just to make this first example work nice. Here's what I'd like to know. First thing, I want you to find f of 0. Then I want you to find f of negative 5. Then I want you to find f of 1/10. And then this is, so those three problems are very similar to what I just did, right? We did those. This is where things are going to be different. If f of x equals 0, find x. E. If f of x equals 2, find x. Last one. If f of x equals negative 8, find x. So I'm going to let you work this out, and I want you all to talk to each other, you know, kind of like we did last time. It's not going to be a group work assignment. I saw some of y'all were making friends last time, so if you want to discuss it with your neighbors, you can. These first three are very much what we did before, right? You're just taking x and replacing it with those numbers. This is different though, right? Right here, I'm giving you the x, right? I'm giving you the x, and I'm asking you to tell me what the output is, right? These first A, B, and C. What I'm doing is I'm giving you 0, negative 5, and 1/10, right? And I'm asking you where they go, right? That's what I'm doing for A, B, and C. But for D, E, and F, what am I giving you? Am I giving you what you're supposed to plug in for x? No, I'm giving you what the output is. So this is 0, this is 2, this is negative 8, and you are supposed to figure out what goes in to give me those outputs. So get the first three going, and then we'll see if anyone can figure out E, D, and F, or D, E, and F, and then we'll talk about it as a group, okay? I'm going to give you all, well, at least 5 minutes. If you're done, hey, let's do this. If you finish, let's see if you have the guts to turn around and write your answers on the board, A, B, C, D, E, and F. All right? Then I'll know if you're done, and we'll see how confident you are. I'll give you all some quiet time together. You can. You don't have to. I'm not going to force you to talk to each other, but you know, if you Okay, so for D, what I'm asking is, what do you plug into this, right? What x do you plug in to get 0? Yes? What that really means is take that equation, or take that expression, 5x plus 7, and tell me when does it equal 0, right? So all you're doing is taking this function and setting it equal to 0. And then when you look at this, this is a linear equation in one variable, which is what we did in the beginning of this class. We just solve for x. Does that make sense? What would we do for this one? Set that equal to 2. So it'd be this same thing with a 2 over here, right? And then the last one would be take that and set it equal to -8. Make sense? It's different than plugging it in, right? These you're just plugging in 0, right? Replace the x with 0, replace the x with -5, replace the x with 110. But these, you set that equal to 0, set that equal to 2, set that equal to -8, and solve each of those equations. I'll solve this one just so we can see it. This one would be, I would subtract 7 on both sides. And then I would divide both sides by -5 so that that goes away. And I get x over here. And then -7 divided by -5 is a positive number, 7 over 5. Yes, okay, good. I was looking at the left side. Okay? Any questions? We're going to move on. I'm going to let you finish these on your own. Let's see. Let's check. Are these answers right? Can we check yours? Okay. So let's see. Is 1 correct for E? There's a way we can check it real easily. We can just plug 1 in right here. If we plug in 1, what do we get? -5 plus 7, which is 2. Yep, that works, right? That works. And then is 3 the answer for the F? Well, let's see. If we plug in 3, what happens? 5 times 3, or sorry, -5 times 3 is -15, plus 7, that would give you 8, -8. So those work. So those are the correct answers for D, E, and F. And then the other ones, 7, let's see, plug in -5, you get 25, yeah, 32. And then the, let's see, hold on, 1/10, yeah, so this will be -0.5. Yeah, okay, good. All right, so those are correct. Those answers are correct. Is that what you got? Good. Looks good. Okay. All right. So we're gonna transition to something different now. Are there any questions? We're going to transition to something different. Instead of me giving you the function and telling you to plug something in, or like I just did with the last 3, D, E, and F, give you the value of the function, ask you what the input was, I'm going to give you a picture of the function, and you're going to answer some questions. So I'm going to tell you right now that this is x, and this is f of x. And I'm going to draw a function. Now, I'm going to have to be kind of precise here with my drawing. So make sure that you, if you're going to write this down, that you kind of do a decent graph. You don't need graph paper, but... Okay, so there's my grid, okay? And now I'm going to draw you the function. Here it comes. Let me put a couple of points on here first, because I know what I want it to do. Yeah, and then let's go here. Okay, so here's my function. Here's what it does. take a moment to kind of copy that down. While you're doing that, I'm going to write the things I want to know. Find, let's see, f of negative 2. Next, I want to find f of 0. No, negative 1. Then I want to find f of 2. All right, so let's start with the first one. F of negative 2. So I'm asking you to tell me, if you put negative 2 in for x, right, what comes out? So can someone explain what you're going to do to get this answer? Anyone want to explain how you're going to do this? Anyone? Anyone?
I feel like you're going to take some of the points.
Okay.
And, like the whole input-output thing we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. So we're plugging in negative 2, right, for x.
Right.
So if I look at my x-axis, here's 3, here's 2, here's 1, here's 0, here's negative 1. Negative 2, right? That's x is negative 2. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up and down, and I'm going to see where my point is. Well, there's my point, right, on the graph. So what are the coordinates of that point? It's negative 2 goes in, and what comes out? So how high up is it? 1, right? So that means if I plug in negative 2, it spits out 1. Yes? So my answer should be 1. Let's do another one, okay? Let's do another one in case if that didn't make sense. I want to know what happens when I plug negative 1 in for x. So I'm going to come over here to my x-axis. I'm going to go to negative 1, and I'm going to look up and down for a point. And I see a point down here. This is the point, negative 1. That means to the left 1, and then down 1 also, right? Negative 1. So that's the output. So my answer should be negative 1. Making sense or not? Yes? Okay. And then f of 2. So I go, the x is 2, right? I'm plugging in 2 for x. So I go to left 2, I look up and down, and I see I have a point right here. What's its output? Negative 1. Good. Does that seem pretty straightforward? Yeah? How about this? If f of x equals 3, find x. Okay, so this is different, right? I'm not telling you to plug 3 in for x, am I? I'm actually asking you, when does this function reach the value of 3? So what you're going to have to do now is instead of going left and right like we were doing here for these, we're looking at the outputs. So I want to know when the output of this function is 3. Which over here, right, where is that coming from? 3, right? 3 goes in, 3 comes out. But what about over here? I didn't put a point intentionally. I didn't put a point. This keeps going like that. Can you tell? Like if we draw a point right here, where's that coming from? Negative 3. Do you see that there's two values of x? If you plug in 3, you get 3 to come out. If you plug in negative 3, you get 3 to come out. So we have 2 answers. Find x. X is 3 or x is negative 3. Let me give you another one. E. How about if f of x equals negative 1, find x. So now I'm telling you the output is negative 1, right? So you're going to look like this, not like this. You're going to look like this and go to negative 1. Can you tell? At negative 1 and at 2. Yes? At negative 1 and at 2. Negative 1 and 2, sorry. I guess you could put, instead of or here, you could put and. Because it's 2 places that it happens, right? There and there. Let's just do that. Okay, f. If f of x equals 0, find x. And I'm going to add one more thing to this. Estimate. That means it may not be easy to find what the answers are, so I want you to just estimate. So I want to know when the function is 0, right? That means I want to know when this up and down is 0, which is really where then? Where is it? Right there, right? Isn't that 0? Isn't that a 0 output of the function? It's not up 1, it's not down 1, it's not up 2, it's not down 2. It's 0, which is this. So I want to know when it's hitting this, right? Which is the x-axis, right? I'm really asking when does it hit the x-axis? So it's here, 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 and here. There are 4 answers. There are 4 answers. And you need to estimate what they are. So someone want to tell me what they think this one is about? -1.5. So like here's -1, here's -2. You think that's about halfway? You put -1.5? Someone might say -1.4. That'd be fine. X is -1.5. Okay? And what else? So that's this one. Somebody else estimate this one for me. -0.5, okay, -0.5. And then, well, that one, yeah, what do you think? 0.9 maybe? You could say 1, I wouldn't be upset. And x is 0.9. And then, how about this one? 2.2, good, I'm happy with that. And x is 2.2. Whenever I'm asking you to plug a number into a function, right? When I ask you to plug a number in, you're always going to get one answer. But if I ask you for the x values that give you a certain output, you could have 1 answer or 2 answers or 3 answers or 4 answers, no limit to it. All right? Let me ask you one more. G. If f of x equals -3, find x. What do you think? Shaking your head. No? What do you mean? Yeah, if you go to -3, right, down here, and you look to the left and right, the graph never gets down here, does it? You never have, that never happens, right? So how do we say that? You don't say it's not a function, you would just say that there's no x, right? There's no x that does this. So no x, you could also say, I would take that right there, you could say no solution. If you wanted, I'd be happy with that, okay? Just, the idea is that it never happens, though. What's wrong? Are you following it or no? So I'm asking for what x value does the output become -3? So output is the up and down. So we went to -3, and we were looking over here, and notice I don't have any graph. Like, there's never any graph. When I asked you part D, I said, when is the function +3? We went up to +3 and we said, oh, it happens here and here, so we picked off the 2x values where it happens. But when we're down here, the graph's never touching it. Make sense? Okay. That should, let me give you the homework for this. We have a little bit more to talk about, but let me give you what homework I want you to kind of do for this. It's out of the packet, page 85 and 86. Okay, so from the homework packet, page 85 and 86. And let's do something Let's start making this a habit. I'm not going to ask you, I'm not going to collect this from you next time, okay? I'm not going to collect it. But what I am going to do is I'm going to come around and I'm going to look to see that you completed those 2 pages, all right? And if you did, you get a credit grade for that. Fair? You can do it on separate paper, or you can do it within the packet if you printed it out. I don't care how you do it, all right?
If you just did it on separate paper, can you just bring a separate paper?
Yes. Yep. Okay. The last topic, the last thing I want to do with the remaining time is related to what we're doing here, but a little off topic. But I think it's very valuable to you, all right? So do you all, yeah, I know you know it, you've heard of this. GPA, right? Stands for? Grade point average. And in college, this is very important if you're trying to get into certain programs. I know none of you all are pursuing like to be a doctor or something like that, right? That would be a different path. But certain programs, what are y'all studying to be? Anyone know what their major is right now? Teaching? Nursing? Okay. So things get pretty competitive. Now teaching, they're like begging for teachers right now. So hopefully they'll start to pay teachers better. I think maybe it'll happen. We'll see. But nursing is very competitive. There's a lot of people who want to become nurses. And so, although there is a demand for nurses, they look at your GPA to determine whether or not, you know, they're going to accept you into their program or not, right? This GPA. So do y'all know how your GPA is calculated?
Your grades and all the classes added.
Yeah, it's something to do with your grades in your classes, right? So I want to explain it to you because I want you to understand how the GPA works, all right? It's an important thing to understand as a college student. So right now you're taking a class, right? This class, and this class is Math 1314, okay? Does somebody want to tell me another class they're taking? You're taking government? Do you know what it is? Do you know what the number is? 2305. It's 2305? Okay. Anyone taking like a physical education or like weightlifting or something?
Weight training.
You're doing weight training? So I guess that falls under what? Kinesiology. What do they do? KIN or something?
NE, I think.
KNE? Okay, so, and do you know the number of it?
I think it's 1112.
1112, that seems right. Okay, anyone taking anything else that they know the number and it's like has a 4 in it? No? 2420, what is that? Biology, okay, so biology 2420. Okay, is there a lab with that or no? There's no lab? You don't know the lab? Okay, but I can tell you I can tell you for sure, I'm going to make it up, but I know it's something like this, 01 something, I'll say 4, okay? So does that kind of look like when you register for classes, these numbers and stuff, right? Okay, so let me tell you what these numbers mean. The first number is like the level, okay? So first number is like first year, this is a first year class. You do it in the first 2 semesters. If there's a 2 there, then that means that's a second level class. So these are like second year courses. If there's a 3, then you'd be a junior in college, and if there's a 4, you're a senior in college. So this is a community college. We only offer first 2 years, then you have to transfer. So all the courses you take here are either going to have a second number, or sorry, a first number that's either a 1 or 2 or a 0. Labs get the 0. Okay, they just get zeros on them. The labs do. Okay, so that number just tells you kind of where you are, right? The second number is the important one. This number here, that number right there is what we call the credit hours. Credit hours. And it really represents like how much time you are in that class per week, roughly. So like your kinesiology class, what is it, like once a week? Twice, how long?
About an hour 15.
Really, an hour 15 twice? Okay, but you're only getting a 1 hour credit for it because what it is. And then the biology, is that like an hour, 40-minute course? Like, or is it?
Lecture is from 8 to 9, and the lab.
Then the lab. Okay, so you get 4 credit hours. Okay, so when you look at your classes, you look at this number right here, your credit hours. That's a very important number, right? And now let's just make up a report card, okay? Like report card. Let's just make some fake grades for this student, okay? So what we do here is, let's say that we rocked the kinesiology, okay? We rocked the kinesiology. We did really well in the math. The government is falling apart, and we didn't care, so we got a C in there. Biology was really tough, okay? We didn't make it. And the lab, well, we did well in the lab. We got a B, okay? Let's just say that's what happened, right? So the way it works is that an A is worth 4 points. A B is worth 3 points. A C is worth 2 points. A D is worth 1 point. And an F is worth 0 points. All right? So what we do now is we translate these letter grades into numbers. 4, 4, 2, 0, 3. Okay? With me? Now what we do is we multiply this credit hour times 4. So we get what? 4 times 1, and we get 4 here. You see? We'll do it in a different color because this is a really important column right here. So we kicked ass at weightlifting, right? We kicked ass at weightlifting. But because it's only 1 credit hour, it's only going to contribute 4 to this total that we're going to get here. Now, we did really well in math, right? It was 3 credit hours, 3 times 4, that's 12, so that's pretty good, right? But then the government, we had 3 times 2, that's 6, and then this is going to kill us, okay? Because we had a 4 credit hour course, and we got 0. 4 times 0 is 0, all right? So the course that had like the most weight to it, we did the worst in. And then the lab, we did okay, but it's, who cares because it's 3 times 1. So we only get 3. Now what we do is we add these up. So let's add them up. Let's see what we get. 25?
Yes.
25. So we get 25 here, okay? We take that number now, 25, and we divide it by the total credit hours we took for the semester. So how many hours did we take? 4, right? Was it 12 total? Yes? 12? We divide that by 12. Do that on your calculator and tell me what you get. Two point 2.08, which means that you're roughly a C student. All right? You're roughly a C student. And the reason is because that F basically destroyed your. So how are we doing on time? I got 4 minutes. So let's make up some other grades for this same student, okay? Like the same schedule. Let's say we had a student who didn't get A's. Let's just say we had like B, 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 right? And then on this, let's say they did a C here and a B here. Let's say all B's and 1 C, right? Then the B is worth 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2 here. Now what am I going to do with these numbers? Multiply them by the credit hour. Yes? So I'm going to make a different column over here. So when I do the 1 times the 3, I get 3. I get 3 times 3, I get 9. I get 3 times 3, I get 9.